Oh my god. I think I'm a little fucking insane right now. But I'm not insane. I'm not fucking insane. I know I'm not. But I feel like I am. And mainly because of three reasons. And this is going to put me in a very perfect ranting mood. I really love it when shit like this comes together. When I can just focus my energy, my emotions on a single topic. As soon as all this shit just piles on into my fucking daily life. First off, people. Why on God's green earth is my room the hottest place on the fucking planet? It's like fucking 80 degrees hotter than the outer parts of my home. You know, does that even make sense to you guys? So basically, I am in a fucking oven right now. It's unbearable. All right, that's pissing me off the most right now. But the second thing that's really pissing me off really is that my NBA team playoff team thing, whatever I fucking want to call it. I'm like a loss for words right now, but they are losing huge right now. All right, and that puts some perspective as to what game I'm watching, what period I'm actually recording this, and how pissed off I really am at the score right now. So I am fucking besides myself to see the fucking score of my NBA team. You know, it's really just ridiculous. There's no reason why I should be like this. And right now, I just want to like just say, what the fuck are you doing? And just fucking just jump into my car, just drive onto the stadium, pick up the fucking basketball and score it myself, and just prove it every time that I can do the same thing you're doing, except so much better. But you know, I'm not athletically coordinated, so it doesn't really fucking matter what I do from here. Third off, all right. Third off, this is the thing that broke the straw on the cow's back. All right. I just learned, just in the past few days, that the one of the most highly anticipated games of this year, guys, the most highly anticipated game of this year has been delayed. Right? Now, you're asking, what game are you talking about? If you live under a fucking rock, ladies and gentlemen, I'm kind of surprised that you haven't heard about this right now. But Bioshock Infinite, one of my favorite franchises in the video game history right now, is being delayed for 6 months. Count them, from the October date of when they actually said it was going to be released. October, November, December, January, February. Basically, about good 5 to 6 months of a delay. I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck? What? Hold on, this doesn't make sense. 6 months? 5 to 6 months? What the fuck are you doing? Did you find, like, the hugest bug in the fucking history of bugdom that you just need to, like, find, like, a exterminator and just fucking, like, kill that shit? What the fuck are you doing? Are you fighting Godzilla over there? Trying to finish off this game? What is going on, people? And the reason they gave to us, and I fucking don't see why still up to this day why they decided to delay it, but they said that they wanted to put it in a paraphrase, change some things and tweak it and tack on something better. And whenever I hear those words, it kind of gives me a deep gut feeling that now for some reason the game that I'm really liking and really been waiting for the longest time is starting to downgrade in quality. And the reason why I say that is because when people, or publishers, well, developers in general actually, say those kinds of words, it usually means one or two things. One, they have to change something greatly in the campaign, which is fine by me. If it's gonna make it better, that's fine. If it's gonna like maybe change the way it feels, the flow of the story feels, maybe we'll notice it, but maybe we will probably ignore it if it was, highly worked on for like the past while. I get that. But usually, most of the time, when developers say something like that, it usually means that they're gonna tack on multiplayer. And I don't know about you guys, but I have yet to see or hear of a game that had great story, good to great story in the campaign area, and then good to great game mechanics on multiplayer. It just doesn't coincide together, and that's my topic for you guys right now. Just the fact that there are some games that are meant to be played single player, and some games that are just meant to be played purely multiplayer, and there is a distinguishable line between the two, and you guys will recognize it right off the bat when I name a few of these games. You can probably put it in their respective order when you really think about it. All right, it probably wouldn't take too long to think about it, but let's go over a few games right now of what has multiplayer, and you can tell me whether and what categories they really fit on, whether it's great single player or good to great gaming mechanics on multiplayer. Now let me go down this list real quick. Hopefully you guys will, right off the bat, be able to put them in the respective categories. But let's see. So we got a few games here. We got, of course, Bioshock 2, Battlefield, just mostly the Battlefield franchise, Call of Duty, Dead Space 2, Resistance, the whole Resistance franchise, Assassin's Creed, starting from Brotherhood, Grand Theft Auto 4, Halo, Uncharted 2 and 3, Gears of War, Mass Effect, and mostly first-person shooters in general. Alright? Now, I give you those games because, like I said, they all have multiplayer, right? They all had multiplayer for a good portion of whenever I said they started from, right? Now, if you can kind of think about the list of games I told you, you can already automatically say that the vast majority of the great single player campaign games would come from the Bioshock, Assassin's Creed, Dead Space, Grand Theft Auto, Uncharted, and Mass Effect, franchises, right? Those arguably can be one of the better single player campaign games, right? And you can already tell me reasons why they're great because of this and this and this and this, and I understand that. Now, as much as I love these franchises for what they are, whenever they tacked on multiplayer onto them, it starts to really confuse me, because if you ever noticed lately, guys, when campaign gets mixed in with multiplayer, like for some reason just tacked on multiplayer, for some reason the quality of the single player campaign just seems to kind of downgrade a bit. It kind of slows down, and you don't understand why, because you kind of get the feeling that this is what happened in the office one day, when they just said, half of this development team work on the single player campaign story, while the rest of the fucking studio, including the security guard, the valet guy, the one that went for coffee, the homeless guy outside who, is begging for a job, and was willing to, accept $5 and give out a hand job just so he can just, be there just to get food and shelter. Let's go ahead and hire those guys in and just fucking work on the multiplayer, because we're gonna have some fucking work to do, right? That's what I'm assuming happened in the studio, right? So they just went and just got everyone and their mothers to come on and just work on this multiplayer, which sucks, by the way. I will tell you guys right now, if you played any of these multiplayers on any of these franchises that I just mentioned from the single player side, from the single player category, there is not one redeemable one at all. I mean, you can name me any one of those. You can even name one outside of the list I gave you. I can tell you reasons why they suck. Just for the simple fact that they were not meant to be a multiplayer aspected game as well as being a single player campaign game. It just doesn't work that way. Because essentially, there is a give and take when it comes to making these kinds of games. If you're going to add on something to a game, you can also have to take something away from that. And you take away the beauty of what the story of the campaign games are in order to trade off to get something maybe redeemable, maybe playable to a certain extent, until something better comes along and it kind of gets forgotten in a sense. And I don't want that kind of stuff to happen, especially with good franchises like this, because these are really good. These games are really, really good by themselves as a standalone single player game, right? And a good example of a really good standalone single player game right now, and of course I said it for the past few commentaries right now, but it quite arguably can be Batman Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. Those two already shine out as one of the better single player games, just because they really focus on that more instead of doing something as silly as multiplayer, right? Now that's talking about just the single player campaigns. Now there's something is really special about the heavily multiplayer aspected games. It's kind of special because what it feels like to me whenever I play single player aspected games is kind of the opposite when it comes to single players, like in general, right? With single players, with multiplayer, it seems like the multiplayer is kind of tacked on to the game, right? But when it comes to like franchises like Battlefield, like Call of Duty, like Halo or Gears of War, it kind of seems like the opposite. It kind of seems like they first solely relied on having the multiplayer worked on, right? And then some guy in the fucking broom closet one day thought about, hey, you know what would go great with this? Milk. No, not milk. a story. A story that kind of goes along with what we're going for here, to kind of set up the feeling of what this game's kind of about. And then after that, once they get the kind of general setup of what's going on in the story, then they can get into the multiplayer part, right? And that's what kind of the campaign for these franchises is serving as. It's basically like a background story of what's going on for the multiplayer to play, right? And it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. I really want... Here's what I'm saying, guys. If you're gonna focus on something as saying, okay, we're gonna heavily work on, multiplayer, don't tack on the campaign to that. There really is no much sense to the campaign, really. Once you really think about it, it's kind of like a bother. You really don't come back to play these multiplayer games. Say, you know what, I want to play the campaign for a little bit. That's what I really want to work on. No one fucking does that. I don't even fucking do that. I realize that I am the sole problem of why these multiplayer games are just solely played as multiplayer, because it is fun to play on multiplayer and do that kind of stuff, but that's what it's really kind of known for. No one refers to Call of Duty as one of the better gaming franchises when it comes to story. I actually should put an exception to that, because if I remember correctly, the Guinness Book of World Records said it was. That's another story. That's another commentary for another day. I'm not gonna tackle that right now. But besides those idiots over there in fucking Switzerland, I'm assuming they're from Swiss. I apologize if they're not, and I apologize to the people from Switzerland that kind of got offended by that. But in all honesty, like that's just fucking moronic. It really is. There is no reason why you would think that is like the greatest story campaign ever within the past decade. There is no reason why you should think that way. Their poll was silly in a sense, but that's, again, I'm going to go off topic here. But here's what I'm saying, guys. At least for the most part, the people who do play multiplayer games solely for just being on the multiplayer servers, at least recognize it as, we're only playing it because of the multiplayer. We're not playing it because we said it's a great game, or the developers who published this game said this was great campaign plus multiplayer. They basically focused on the multiplayer, and that's what they continue to fix, is the multiplayer. All right, at least that much I can respect from those guys. Even though some of these franchises release more than one game a year than they should, at least from that point they can say, you know what, we're doing something better in this aspect of, or in this spectrum of the gaming world, where maybe we may not have the best story campaign, but at least we have some basis on having some fanboy audiences into the multiplayer aspect. And that's always, I guess, okay to have, especially with interactivity being one of the biggest things right now at this millennia. But I just want to basically send out a open letter to to these other games, to these games that are solely should be meant to play on the single player campaign aspect, to just please remain that way. There is no reason why there should be multiplayer at all in these kinds of games. They are great by themselves, and they should be only focused by themselves by focusing on that aspect. Because when you really focus on something like that, you really are perfecting it and fine-tuning it and making it something even better than what we were really expecting, or what we really was hoping for. And hopefully with Bioshock, with the delay of Bioshock, it really is the case of just being something they have to tweak in the game, and not something they're going to try to tack on at the last minute. I really hope that is the case. Because if it's going to be the situation where I have to pick aside from Bioshock Infinite a different game because of something that they messed up on, especially when they tack on just multiplayer just cause, it's going to break my heart to basically tear myself away from that, because this is something I've really been hoping to play, sometime soon. But now it looks like I have to wait and just kind of hold myself back a little bit and just kind of see what they're trying to go for here. Because as of right now, I really don't know what to expect. And hopefully I will get some more news from this point on. Because right now, I'm kind of steaming off of this. I really am. But anyway, guys, that is my commentary for now. I hope you kind of understand what kind of topics or points I'm trying to get across from this topic. And, if you kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about and you kind of agree with my points, go ahead, tell me in the comments below. Of course, if you have anything opposing, let me know also, and I will respectfully respond to your with your comments accordingly to how they come in. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I need to turn on some fans. I need to watch the game and hopefully see a better score. And maybe, wait on and check gaming news and see if there's anything more to this story. But I'll see you guys later. Enjoy your day / evening. Whenever you are watching this, this is Second Blank saying peace out. Later, Gators.